So, welcome to this round table. We are Elena Duzensweig Lopez and I. We are managing editors of UMALCA's journal.
No se escucha mucho lo que decís.
Tiene que hablar con él. We are, so Elena Duzensweig and I are managing editors of UMALCA's mathematical research journal called Orbitae Mathematicae, and we are here to tell you a bit about the journal and hopefully to answer your questions that you may have about it and to convince you that to submit papers to the journal. So, as I mentioned in my talk on the history of UMALCA, the idea of having a journal, a society journal, was present since the beginning of our union. But originally it was discarded because, well, I mean, the reasoning was, why do we need another society? Each of our societies, or most of them, have its own journals, and yeah, why add to that? But then later on, the consensus among the UMALCA leadership varied, and people started thinking that it would be an idea to have a journal as long as it aimed to be a top-tier journal with the likes of the Journal of American Mathematical Society or of the European Math Society. And when I took office in 2017, so I was I talked to people who had been in the executive committee before, and they told me, well, that there were two main outstanding things to be resolved. One was the giving UMALCA some legal background, some legal statute, and the other one was the creation of this journal, which had already been quite discussed in the previous among the previous executive committee, so much so that there had been two drafts for the bylaws of the yet to be created journal of UMALCA. These drafts for the bylaws of the journal were the basis for the actual bylaws that we have now. I'm going to tell you, I'm going to read from a couple of documents that I have here. So, first of all, the decision to launch a journal was taken. So, this is it on now? No. Is it on now? Yes. Okay. Yeah, the decision to launch the journal was taken by the UMALCA's assembly that took place in April 18, 2022. So there, the journal, a committee to launch the journal, to initiate negotiations, to find a name, to initiate negotiations with the publisher and so on, was nominated. That included Alicia Dickenstein, Bernardo Uribe, Elena Nussensweig, Paolo Piccione, did I mention? Yeah, and Eduardo Cerón and myself. Yeah, and it also had appointed the editors of the journal, which I'm going to read the list later on. But the managing editors were to be Elena, Eduardo Cerón, and myself. So here is the statement of purpose of the journal. It reads as follows. UMALCA's mission is to promote mathematics in the region, and in particular to highlight the mathematical research that is done here. In this context, we have decided to create a research journal provisionally called Orbitae Mathematicae. So the name of Orbitae Mathematicae came about as follows. So we discussed for a while what title could we find that be spelled the same in both Spanish and Portuguese. And we came to Orbitae Mathematica. But then we were quite convinced that this was the name, the good name for the journal. But then the question arose of the fact that Orbitae and Mathematica have accented vowels that need a tilde in Spanish. And my colleague sitting next to me started saying, no, but this will cause a lot of problems with in the Anglo-speaking world, and this won't work, and so on. And so, well, why not make it into a Latin name? So, say, Orbitae Mathematica. So we just add an H between the T and the E, and we make it into Latin. But then it turned out we discovered that the third managing editor, Eduardo Santillán Cerón, is an aficionate Latinist. Not to say a Latin lover, but a lover of Latin. Yeah, so, and well, he gave us a lecture of the, so the Latin used by the scholastic Latin versus the Latin in the Roman times. And well, and so he convinced us that the right way was Mathematicae, because it should be declined to mean the orbit of mathematics. Okay, and he wrote this brief explanation of the name that is currently in the journal's webpage that I'm going to read. So the title of the journal reflects the modern historical evolution of mathematics. Orbita in classical Latin originally meant the track left by a wheel or a way well worn by one's ancestors. Representing how, I'm going to say, Cicero saw the knowledge and philosophy endowed from the Hellenistic world, and how we all begin learning mathematics. The Renaissance brought another meaning for the Latin word orbita, namely the path of a celestial body when it revolves around another body due to their mutual gravitational attraction. As it is testified by Copernicus' seminal manuscript, de revolutionibus orbium coelestium, and obviously by Kepler and Newton works on the laws of motion and gravitation. Finally, modern times added a new meaning to the Latin orbita, the sphere of influence. Obviously, all sciences belong now to the Orbitae Mathematicae. Okay, so that's the explanation of the name. And so I said that this was the statement of purpose. So here is the actual statement of purpose proper is the paragraph that I'm going to read next. The journal Orbitae Mathematicae will seek to attract original research articles of the highest level, both from the region and from the rest of the world, and will aim to position itself among the most prestigious journals internationally. Thus, the mathematical research of the highest level in Latin America and the Caribbean will have a publishing option originating in the region and with high global impact. So for us, the whole idea is that it's a matter of if you will, social standing within the scientific community for the region to have a truly high-level journal. So it's a matter of self-respect of us as mathematicians, of believing that we do say that we create great mathematics in the region, and we should believe in this and believe that we are able to have a truly high-level journal in the region. So the original editorial board of the journal was composed of Nicolás Andruszkiewicz, Carolina Araujo, Graciela Buente, Regina Urachik, who so she took early retirement from her university and quit the journal. Enrique Burstein from MIMPA, María Emilia Caballero, Héctor Cisneros, Felipe Cooker, Juan Carlos de los Reyes, Alicia Dickenstein, Carlos Di Prisco, Germán Enciso, Michal Kowalczyk, Antonio Lafache, Jorge Lauret, Facundo Memoli, Antonio Montalbán, Luis Montejano, who I think he I think he did. Andrea Najmod, Luis Núñez Betancourt, Elena Nussensweig López, Angélica Osorno, Héctor Pastén, Jimmy Petian, Sylvie Paicha, Enrique Pujals, Maya Stein, Andreas Bertolt Thom, María Eulalia Vares, and Eduardo Cerón and myself. Right. So the committee that I mentioned before, composed of Bernardo Uribe, Alicia Dickenstein, Elena Nussensweig, Paolo Piccioni, Eduardo Cerón, and myself, were given the task of finding a publisher. And we discussed several publishers, possibilities for publishers were discussed. One was Springer, which Eduardo had connections with them because he was or had been chief editor of the Boletín de la Sociedad Matemática de México, and which is published by Springer. But an argument against Springer was that there are many in the mathematical community and in science in general so there is a sub-community that is against these super big, monstrous publishing conglomerates like Springer and Elsevier. And so if we became a Springer journal, then we wouldn't rub these people the right way, so to speak. So we will have something against us on that side. Then another possibility was that was proposed by Elena was the project Mersen, okay, which is so it's a completely open access publisher, and it's what is called diamond access. That charges, it doesn't charge anyone, the reader or the, but well, one thing about this that I personally wasn't convinced was that so if you have a completely open access free journal, then you need you cannot afford some things, like for example a decent managing system. Like, so I liked, because I was editor of Annals of K-Theory, which publishes with MSP, with Mathematical Science Publishers. Mathematical Science Publishers was the creator, is the creator of Edit Flow, which is one of the most widely used managing systems for journals. And actually, they MSP is, so with all the revenue they get from Edit Flow, is that they can afford to be a non-for-profit publisher. And I wanted to have a good system such as that. And also the other thing was that if nobody got charged, then UMALCA wouldn't get a revenue from the journal. So, okay, so finally we made an agreement with MSP, by which after I don't remember how many years of publishing, we would begin receiving a percentage of the some royalties, a percentage of the earnings of the journal. This agreement was signed in August of 22, and we have begun. So I think we received the first paper in 23, and we. Oh, okay. So let's go to Elena's part of the talk. Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So, the way we divided this was that Guillermo was going to talk about the past, and I was going to talk about the present and the future. Okay. So just one more comment. Guillermo made some comments about how the name was chosen, and actually there was a lot of brainstorming going on in the choice of the name. And some of the names, one obvious name was Journal of UMALCA. But that was vetoed because the acronym, people, not even acronym, people, the nickname that would get would be very, very ugly. UMALCA. Nobody liked that. So we vetoed that on that basis, on the basis of it sounding really Okay. So let's see. I have to stand somewhere where I can actually see what I'm showing you. All right. So this is the web page. This is what you see when you log on to the web page. The first thing that you see. Oh, I'm sorry. No, not this. This is what Guillermo said. This is the name, what was in the name of the journal, which is now, I guess, people call it OM in MSP or Orbitae Math. That works also. Okay, yeah, this is the web page of the journal. So this is what you see when you log on to the web page, msp.org. And if you don't remember this, you can just go Google MSP-OM and it will get you here, okay? So you have all of the volumes that have been published, Volume 1, Issue 1, Volume 1, Issue 2. It's 2 issues per year for now at least. Each issue is about 100 pages long, okay? And Volume 2, Issue 2 isn't ready yet. So this is really 2024-1, 2024-2, 2025-1, and this will be 2025-2, okay? So you have about the journal, then you have how to, instructions for authors, how to submit papers, etc. Okay, so the UMALCA agreement was signed August 30th, 2022. That's when life starts for Orbitae. The first submitted paper, though, was received before then, was received in April of 2022, because before we signed the agreement with MSP, there was a link on the webpage, on UMALCA's webpage, announcing the creation of this journal and saying, look, we're open for submissions, but if you want to submit a paper, submit it to us directly, okay? All right, and by the way, this paper, this was a very famous paper by a very famous author, which caused a lot of debate. So all of the decisions are made by the managing committee. So we're 3 managing editors. We discuss between the 3 of us, and then we make a decision. And actually, this paper was by a very famous author. There was a lot of discussion. Do we really, it was not a good paper, okay? Certainly not the kind of thing that we wanted to publish. And we didn't want to start on the left foot. So in the end, we decided to reject this. But it was it was a difficult decision because it's a very famous author. Okay. The first issue was published in November 2023, so about a year and a half later, and it comprises volume 2024, issue 1. The first accepted paper was by Bernard Sturmfels. Okay, the way this works is that once a paper is accepted, it's published on the website, and it goes provisionally into an issue, but the issue is not deemed complete until it reaches about 100 pages. Okay. So to date, we have 3 complete issues, 2024-1, 2024-2, 2025-1, and 2025-2 is nearly complete. And each issue, as I mentioned, is approximately 100 pages long. So here is issue number 1. Okay, the first paper is this one, Bernard Sturmfels and collaborators. Then you have a PDE, partial differential equations paper by Monica Clapp and Angela Pistoia. Then the discounting compatible indexing systems for CP, and this game theory. It's also PDE by Julio Rossi and Alfredo Miranda. Okay. Issue 2 has only 1 paper because it was basically a 100-page paper by Bonke, K-theory. Here's issue 1 of 2025. It's called volume 2025, issue 1, but it was actually published in 2024, I think. It was finalized in 2024. Okay, so we have Lie algebras, we have this, I forget what this is, degree of a tropical root, I don't remember, this is Federico Ardila Montilla. Moduli spaces, this is Marco Jargin's stuff. Then you have a measure theory and inequalities, this discrete sums of LQ norms of convolutions, and this 3 crisis Coker category theory, right? Okay. And here is the issue that's not complete yet. As you see, we have 90 pages. Okay, it goes from 103 to 189, but it's not yet complete. We need 1 more paper, basically, to finish this issue. Okay, so to date, we've received 53 submissions. Of these, 30 were rejected, 3 were withdrawn, 1 was a mistake. What do I mean by mistake? Was it a mistake that was withdrawn? No, it actually was a mistake that it was submitted. It was a revision that somebody submitted as a new paper, and then it withdrew it as a new paper and resubmitted as a revision. Okay. 12 were accepted and published. And currently we have 8 manuscripts that are under review at various stages. Some are in version 1, some are already revisions. So these are various stages. So we have some stuff in the pipeline to be able to close volume 2 of 2025. Issue 2 of 2025. The countries from which we have received submissions are these: France, Germany, Chile, United States, Switzerland, Costa Rica, Mexico, Italy, India, Japan, Argentina, Israel, Canada, Brazil, the UK, Bosnia and Herzegovina, Trinidad and Tobago, Iran, Luxembourg, China, Uruguay, and Afghanistan. And you see several countries here in green. In fact, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 in green. These are countries from the region, from UMALCA region. Okay, so this addresses the fact that on the one hand, yes, this is an international journal, okay, and on the other hand, it is serving well our region. Okay, of the 12 papers published, we've had submissions from these papers. I don't think they were all accepted. I don't remember actually. Areas of submitted manuscripts. All of these different areas have submitted manuscripts. So it isn't truly a generalist journal. There's one thing that's missing. There's no areas, there's nothing really from applied math, and we're working on this. In fact, I'm working on this. But we have logic, combinatorics, number theory, lots of algebra, Lie theory, category theory, homological algebra, K theory. Let's see. What else? We have real analysis, measure and integration, several complex variables, PDE, mostly elliptic systems, elliptic equations, dynamical systems, and ergodic theory, no surprise there. Harmonic analysis, no surprise. Functional analysis, operator theory, and then there's this quantum theory, statistical mechanics, and structures. That's really Marco Jardin stuff, so it's sort of algebraic geometry, basically, with applications. Okay. We've had some operations research and mathematical programming, but nothing I think except that I can remember. Okay. This is the editorial board that Guillermo already covered in his part of this talk. This is the current editorial board. So we have the managing committee, Guillermo, myself, and Eduardo. And then here are the current associate editors: Carolina Araújo, Graciela Puente, Enrique Burstein, Maria Emilia Caballero, Hector Ceniceros, who's in Santa Barbara. He's a very applied guy, but so far he's not received anything yet. Felipe Kucker, Juan Carlos de los Reyes, Alicia Dickenstein, Carlos Di Prisco, Germán Enciso, another, so we do have applied math in the editorial board, it just hasn't happened yet. Bernard Keller, Michal Kowalisk, Antonio Laface, Johnny Lauret, Facundo Memoli, Antonio Montalban, Andrea Ahmad, Luis Núñez Betancourt, Angélica Osorno, Héctor Pastel, Silvia Pacha, Jimmy Petal, Enrique Puchals, Luis Silvestre, Maya Stein, Andreas Tom, and Maria Olivares. So we have maybe 1 or 2 new names, and then some names from the original editorial board who left for various reasons. Okay, so one very important effort that we've made, one important endeavor in this story is to promote the journal to attract more submissions. We want this journal to be a top-notch journal, so we need to attract the very best papers, okay? So how do we promote the journal? What kinds of actions are we taking? Well, they're straight asking for submissions, so we've engaged the editorial board, all members of the editorial board, to write to their friends, collaborators, to promote the journal and ask their friends to submit, their friends who are good mathematicians, to submit outstanding papers to the journal. And speaking for myself, I've had some friends of mine say, well, you're very intimidating, so I don't know if this paper that I have is good enough. Okay, but this is the kind of thing that we want. Okay. Announcements during talks. So we add a slide about OM to each talk, and we've asked members of the editorial board to do so also. So everybody who travels, gives a talk somewhere, you add a slide. Oh, by the way, we would like to announce a new journal, top-notch journal. Okay. And we have the Orbitae Mathematica webinar. So this was an initiative that was discussed, an idea that came up during the CLAM last year, okay, the Congreso Latinoamericano de Matemática. At a meeting of the editorial board, we had a meeting which was virtual, well, it was hybrid actually, okay? And we discussed holding a webinar. The idea of the webinar would be to have authors of papers that were published in OM, and also to have mathematicians from the region, who, from the editorial board and from the region, and people who were getting prizes associated to the region, so UMALCA prizes, for instance, to give talks in this webinar. And this has actually been very successful. We've had 3 this year, so this is an idea that was launched last year during the CLAM, which was in August, I think. Yeah. This was the first one, very appropriately the first paper that was accepted. Okay, so Bernd Stumpfels gave this beautiful webinar here, April 30th. All the talks are on Wednesdays at 1 p.m. Argentina time and Brazil time. Okay. Here's the second talk. Roughly 2 months later, Julio Rossi, who also had a paper published in OM. And Julia Plavnik also had a paper published in OM, and she gave the talk in late August. Again, a little bit less than 2 months, but roughly 2 months. Okay. These talks are announced on UMALCA's webpage, and they're also announced on the Instagram, UMALCA's Instagram. Okay, here's an instance. And all of the talks, they are recorded, and the videos are made available publicly on UMALCA's YouTube channel. So at the same time, we get a lot of promotion for the journal, and we get a lot of promotion for UMALCA also, which is very good. Okay. Okay. A committee was formed to find speakers and run this webinar. It's chaired by Alicia Dickenstein. The members of this committee are Carolina Araújo, Luis Núñez Betancourt, Luis Silvestre, and Maya Stein. The current committee, at least. As I mentioned before, the talks are announced on the UMALCA webpage and the UMALCA Instagram, and the videos are posted on UMALCA's YouTube channel. The webinars that were held and planned actually for 2025 are these 4. So we've already had Bernd Stumpfels in April, Julio Rossi in July, Julia Plavnik in late August, and we will have a forthcoming webinar by Hector Pasten, who is at the same time a member of the editorial board, and he's a prize winner from last year, a UMALCA prize winner. Okay. And we already started having the plans for 2026. We have Marco Jardim, who will give a talk in February. There's a bigger interval here between Hector and Marco's talk. Okay, I think that's all that I have to say for now. We'll go to questions. Comments, tomatoes, whatever it is you want to send our way. Oh, I do want to mention that Eduardo unhappily could not join us today.
So, you either ask a question or submit a paper right now.
A talk paper.
Yeah.
I should add that, yes, we have some of the editors in the editorial board are still underused. Underused means they were never used, basically. And then we have some editors also whom we might want to replace eventually. But otherwise, I think the whole thing is functioning pretty well. And our method of deciding is also working pretty well.
Yeah.
You know, sometimes we have more heated debates, less heated debates, but it's working.
Yeah, so the tacit message in the sentence we have underused editors is, well, if you think your subject is not represented by any of the papers that have already been published, then don't be afraid of that. Look at the editorial board. I'm sure you can find some editor that will fit more or less into your subject. And so the system is as follows. You submit your paper and you may suggest one or two possible editors. And so this is looked at by we three managing editors, and most of the time we will agree with you and send this article to the editor you suggested, or not, depending on what we think, but generally speaking that will be the case. And you can be sure that the article will be handled properly and in a reasonable time. So if we don't hear from the handling editors in due time, we insist on them. So on that side, you can rest assured that your submission will be treated properly.
How long does it take the editorial process? No, how long does it take the editorial process, more or less?
How long does the editorial process take?
It's very varied, but we don't have a good average yet. I mean, because it's very varied.
Yeah. So the standard. So the default is to give the referees 2 months. Of course, there are a million circumstances that can come in the way. Sometimes, I mean, and this is not a matter of Orbitae in particular, but as an editor of other journals, I can tell you that many times you spend more time finding somebody who will accept to be a referee than the time that the referee actually takes to produce the report. Yeah, but you, I mean, you can rest assured that we care. We are on. We are on the referees, the handling editors. We all the time looking at that they don't sleep without anybody doing anything. On the contrary, I mean, on the other hand, we had some papers that so needed some revision, and the authors took ages to revise it. So that also happens. Yeah.
You talked about the past, you talked about the present, what about the future?
I think the main thing is we need more papers, we need more submissions. So that is why we're putting in a lot of effort into promoting the journal. And everybody here can help with that.
But are you planning, for instance, like special issues?
This was discussed. Yes, this was discussed. We had a meeting with MSP, in fact, and our position for the moment is that we don't like the idea.
It's complicated, yes.
Yes.
I know.
Yeah.
It's tricky. Yeah.
The one thing that we're very, very happy is that we have managed to maintain the journal extremely selective. So, we do receive reports saying, look, this is a worthwhile publication, this is worthwhile work, it should be published, but I don't think it's at the level that you're looking for. And then, or even if he doesn't say that, we discuss and say, okay, this is not what we're looking for. Because I think that's like the critical mistake. If you want to have a high-level journal, you shouldn't lower your standards, You should, yeah.
Yeah, of course, of course we want to be a top-tier journal. Of course, we realize that if you have an Invenciones work paper, you are going to submit it to Invenciones, right? But, so we are aware of that. But within reasonable interval, we aim to really high quality papers.
Another thing that you can help is if there is a field that you think is not being addressed on the editorial board and should be addressed for some reason or another, you can write to us, you can write to UMALCA, suggesting the field, theme, and then we and everybody else will try to find editors in that area.
Yeah, and then you should submit a paper in that area. So there is no excuse for not submitting your best work to us. If you say no because there is no editor there that suits my subject, well, suggest an editor and then submit the paper.
So an important fact of having a high-level journal, an UMALCA high-level journal, is that you are giving visibility and promoting the mathematics of the region. Not only in the papers that are published, but the editorial board, and the whole endeavor reflects well on the mathematics of the region. And I'd like to add that when we first brought this to MSP, they were a little reticent. Okay? But when they saw the editorial board that we were proposing, the tune changed. People were like, oh, okay, we know these mathematicians. And many of them, if not most of them, right, are from the region. Most of the editorial board members are from the region. So yeah, we have an outstanding community, and let's publish our best papers in this journal. We can't, by the way. So that's a very natural question: is you're telling us to submit our best work to this journal. Why don't you? Well, this is written in the bylaws that the managing committee, nobody will submit a paper. This is forbidden, basically because we see everything. So we have access to all the reports to the referees, the handling editor, everything. So it's not fair. It's not reasonable. Okay.
It's also ethical.
Yeah. It's not reasonable.
Yeah, editors, associate. So there are two categories of editors: managing editors and associate editors. Associate editors do not make the decisions; they only handle the papers and make recommendations. So theoretically, they could submit papers, but it's not. We do not encourage them to do so. This can occasionally be the case, but it wouldn't be reasonable to have, lots of submissions by your own editors.
I have a question.
Yeah.
So I was reading the website, it says about journal access fees. It says that after the end of 2026, there will be a subscription.
Yeah, the idea is well. I mean, we should eventually become a subscription journal, but the policy of MSP is this so-called S2O, subscribe to open. So if a given year the number of subscriptions surpasses a certain threshold, then all the issues of that year's volume are made open to everybody, because they have already covered all the expenses. Yeah, so that's their system. But of course, if the idea is for UMALCA to receive royalties, then it must make someone must make some profit. And yeah, so I mean, I don't know what the opinion of the room is, but I very much prefer the old subscription system to the open access system that you have to pay. Somebody has to pay always. For example, even in the some math societies have these diamond access journals, but so they need a personnel specifically working for the journal, and they pay that personnel maybe from membership fees that they receive as a society, and then they cannot buy licensed software for managing the journal, and they have to use the free one, which is one popular free managing editorial management journal is named after O.J. Simpson. Yeah.
I know it.
And it's a complete disaster. Yeah. Yeah. So, okay. So you can do that with a lot of effort. But okay. So we've chosen this other way, which I think is not bad. And you can go and look at MSP's webpage. There is no risk that they will engage in. They will become Springer Group journal or Elsevier journal, and they're decent small publishers.
MSP is MSP is originally a publisher coming from mathematicians, so it was idealized by mathematicians. It's basically Rob Kirby's baby. Nobody asked about impact factor. It's too soon. It's too soon to have an impact factor, but we were very happy that Math.net is starting to review. Yes. To index this.
And Central Lab
also. Yeah.
And Central Lab for Mathematics.
Overall, I'd say that the journal is doing very well, but we need more submissions.
Yeah, if you're going to take an idea home, is that we need submissions, and that it's the business of the whole UMALCA community to get them. So if you don't have any more questions, we'll happily end this here, so everybody will be happy to have more time. And thank you for listening.